Hi, Mark Guerrero here. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Bob Dylan Center, which is a major multimedia museum. Check it out. I arrived a couple of days ago and yesterday toured the first floor of the museum. There's like 100,000 items that Dylan gave to or sold to the museum. And I think that we were told that only like 3 or 4% of what they have is in the museum right now. But it's incredible. I spent like 3 hours on the first floor yesterday. They have all these exhibits around the walls and stations in the middle, you know, and you can hear, you have headphones and a device you can scan on this sensor, and you can hear the music and talking and about certain albums and certain periods, and oh, there's so much information, so many original lyrics, and you know, you can hear outtakes and you know, there's letters from presidents and you name it. It's just an incredible display, and you can just spend as much time as you want in there. They have the original little lyric books from Blood on the Tracks, where he was just writing tons of lyrics, and it's pretty amazing to see. You can see the whole process, how many times he changed verses, changed lines. But if you're a Dylan fan, you got to come here. Today I'm going to tour the second floor, and across the street is the Woody Guthrie Museum, which I'm going to check out later on. Also, I'm hitting a lot of historic musical sites in Tulsa. Leon Russell's grave, Leon Russell's church studio that he built in the early 70s. Cain Ballroom, where a lot of history happened. Going back to Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, and the Rolling Stones coming through town in the 60s. Everybody played the Cain Ballroom. And a lot of luminaries, rock and roll luminaries, are from Tulsa. J.J. Cale, who wrote After Midnight and Cocaine that Eric Clapton recorded. Leon Russell, as I mentioned. David Gates of Bread. Jim Keltner, the great drummer who's played with George Harrison. Dylan, Neil Young, one of the great drummers in rock history, are all from Tulsa. So it's a tremendous town where it comes to rock and roll history, and like I said, the great Bob Dylan Center is here. So I'm going to go check out the second floor, and I'll get back to you. I'm at Leon Russell's church studio. Fantastic, legendary studio. Leon Russell was very active. He's from Tulsa, but he went to LA and he became a successful studio musician, and his whole history, we know his history, he became a major star. In 1972, he came back to Tulsa, and this church here is literally a church. It was for sale. It was a church that had been closed down for a couple of years. And he bought the church, I think, for $12,000 and converted it into a recording studio. So in the early 70s, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, J.J. Cale, everybody would come here and record, hang out, and Willie Nelson, and it became a very popular studio for many years. And after Leon Russell passed, just before he passed, it was bought by a woman who had it all refurbished very nicely and turned it into a tourist spot. People can tour, but it's still a functioning, popular studio. We were told that it's one of the most popular studios in the country, a destination where a lot of people want to come and record here. It's fantastic. I just toured it today. The studio itself is gigantic. You've got a Neve board. It's a beautiful studio. You got all the equipment you need there, and great environment. And up on the top, they have the top floor, they have a belfry, and there's stained glass, like usually religious figures would be in. And it's a stained glass, and it's got Leon Russell in one of them, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, and Willie Nelson are in the stained glass on the top. They didn't allow photographs in there, but it was quite a thing to see. But it's a fantastic place, legendary. And there's a statue of Leon right over here. Right here. Great singer-songwriter, legendary figure. He's buried here in Tulsa. We visited his grave, which I will show you in a minute. Here's the grave of the great Leon Russell. His real name was Claude Russell Bridges. And when he moved to LA, he became a part of the great Wrecking Crew, backing up all kinds of great artists on a lot of hit records, along with Hal Blaine, Joe Osborne, Carol Kay, Larry Knechtel, all the great musicians. And then he started his own career, wrote classics like A Song for You and This Masquerade, and had a lot of hits like Tightrope and the great song Delta Lady. And then he did the Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour with Joe Cocker, and he performed with George Harrison and Bob Dylan and all the greats in the Concert for Bangladesh. He had quite a career. He was one of the great songwriters. And near the end of his career, Elton John took him on tour, and I saw one of those shows in Ontario, California. And he did an album with Elton John. He got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think 2011 or so. And just a great musical career, great songwriter and performer. And here he lies in Tulsa, Oklahoma, his hometown. This is the famous Keynes Ballroom. It opened up actually as an automobile garage for about the first year or so. And it was bought by Mr. Cain. He turned it into a dance academy, and then a year or two later it became a ballroom. And what made it famous is the Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys did their Western swing here. This became one of the birthplaces of Western swing music. And in the 70s, the frickin' Sex Pistols played here and raised some hell. And it's a very legendary venue. It's closed today, but Saturday night, I figured, but there's still shows here. Things happen. But, here it is, Keynes Ballroom, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in front of Keynes, there's like a walk of fame with a bunch of stars with a lot of the artists who have performed here. And artists that I didn't mention before are Leon Russell, J.J. Cale, Hank Williams Jr., Roy Clark, Bobby Blue Bland. So you have R&B artists, you got rock artists, you got country artists, all playing here. You know, Wanda Jackson, the old rockabilly female vocalist. This place, many iconic artists have performed here over the decades. Keynes. I just toured the Woody Guthrie Center, which is right next door to the Bob Dylan Center. They fit so well together. Obviously, Woody Guthrie was Bob Dylan's inspiration. He began his whole journey to become who he became. And it's great to go in there. Woody Guthrie was a real man of the people, and you know, he had no racism in him. He was about all people, and his music reflected what America should be, the best of America. And you know, it's really hard to put it into words, but he was also, besides a songwriter, he was an artist and a sculptor, and he could draw cartoons, and he was just an overall creative person. So he was described as the anchor, the chain of all the other singer-songwriters that followed and have social conscience in their music. And so anyway, it's a very inspirational thing. It ties in perfect with the Bob Dylan. If you ever come to Tulsa, there you go, 2 stops for sure. And as a songwriter myself and a musician, it's all I can say is I'm totally inspired. I might even write another song or 2. Anyway, there you have it.